What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to J.Craft's Garage. Well, it's about that time of year again. Well, it's already that time of year again, where it's getting kind of nice and cool outside. And sometimes it gets so cold outside that things can freeze up and not work properly. Well, in this case here, how do you find out how cold your antifreeze will hold up to? Or what temperature will your antifreeze hold up to before it freezes? You ever thought about that? Well, let me show you a simple way to find out how cold it can get before your antifreeze will freeze up. Check this out. So for my test subject here, we're going to use my ever popular 95 F350 with the 7.3 Power Stroke diesel in it. Just recently, been about a few months ago, changed out the coolant in it, put a new thermostat, new coolant temperature sensor, and a whole bunch of stuff on this truck, and also a new reservoir for you put the coolant in and check the fluid level, and that's where it circulates. It's everything all in one. Unlike some vehicles like my 83, it's got the radiator cap and everything all together. It's old school. This one here being a 95, well, it's got this one. Of course, all the newer vehicles have this. That 95 over there has a cap on the radiator as well. So it just depends on the vehicle, on what you have, on how to check the coolant in it, which we're going to be doing here shortly. Now, first thing you want to make sure, before you do anything else, before you take the cap off, is make sure it's cool. Make sure the engine's cool, and make sure that the coolant is cooled off a little bit. That way you don't have a lot of pressure and it blows up in your face. So what you do is take off the cap either on the radiator or your overflow container, and then you have your fluid tester. I've been playing with it a little bit and seeing what it does, so that's why it's got all the little bubbles in it, to make sure I do a good video. Anyways, so they make all sorts of different varieties of antifreeze testers. This is a Peak antifreeze and coolant tester. Not sponsored. I got it from my local auto parts store near where I'm at. And there's all different ones. There's ones like this. There's even the little smaller ones that's got little bubbles in it and little balls in it and stuff like that as well. So what you do is you take the tester and you take this tube and you put it down and you push the bulb and suck in some coolant into the tester, and I get it right there to where the fluid level is in it. And as you can see there, the arrow, this one here's got an arrow in it. So let me pull it up here a little bit. That way it's up out of the coolant. You can get it. So this one here between 10 and 20, yeah, it looks like it's going to be sitting between -10 and 20 degrees, maybe about 15 degrees below zero, before the coolant would actually freeze, or they call it the freeze point. So down here in Texas, you'll never probably ever see below zero down here where I'm at, so I'm in good shape. Now with the wind chill factor, yes, I've had it down here below zero a few times, but actual air temperature, I've never seen it below zero. I've seen it in the single digits. And snow, of course, if you go back a few years, and plus in 85, there was 13 inches of snow down here as well, which I remember fondly. Don't ask me how. So after we figured out how our antifreeze is, we just let it drain out, and boom, there it is, and empty it out. Now the next question is, what if you're running straight water in your engine or in your cooling system? Well, you might see that's going to get colder and getting below freezing. One or two things could happen. One, it could freeze. Everything could freeze. Radiator could break, and your freeze plugs could pop out of your engine. Now you may be wondering, what are freeze plugs? Well, freeze plugs actually prevent the engine from breaking. They actually pop out, and then all your coolant, or your water in that instance, will come out, either ice form or liquid form. But in some circumstances, like what happened to my little brother in his car, water will freeze up and break the block. Yeah, in severe cases. So, best thing to do is to put a minimum of 50-50 coolant and water into your cooling system. Now, some cooling systems only take a couple of gallons. This cooling system in this F350 diesel takes about 5 gallons. So there you go. You just have to know how much coolant that your system takes. And you can drain the radiator and refill it with the proper mixture of coolant. That way, you will be protected from the cooler weather. I know some of y'all are up in the northern part of the country and know all too well about keeping things from freezing, using antifreeze in your vehicles, as well as in other instances and other applications as well. So if you got any questions, concerns, complaints, just drop them down down there in the bottom and all that. And hopefully everybody will survive all this cooler weather that's taking place right now. I know here in this location, it's supposed to get down near 20 degrees for the lows, and it's supposed to have some sleet or some snow or things of that nature. So I may be doing some videos about that as well. Another thing that I was just thinking about, like this one here, I plug my truck in so it stay warm, so I don't have to freeze. But those of y'all that don't have a block heater, like most people don't down here, it's a good thing to check your antifreeze ahead of time. That way you can take the proper precautions to protect your vehicle. That way it doesn't break and you still have a good running vehicle. Again, I hope everybody's well. Hope everybody's safe. Hope everybody's staying warm. And we'll catch you right here on the next video.